The courtroom is dead silent. A weight hangs heavy in the air, pressing down on everyone present. All eyes are fixed on the man at the center of it all, Sergeant Nathan Carter. Sitting in his wheelchair, dressed in his military uniform, his medals glint under the harsh fluorescent lights above, a testament to a life spent in service. But it is not his military service that has brought him here today. It is the bond he shares with the K9 at his side. Thor, a German shepherd whose calm, watchful eyes have seen more than most could ever imagine. This is more than a soldier asking for a final farewell to a dog. This is a plea from a man whose life has been saved countless times by the very animal he now faces losing. The emotional weight of their bond, the years spent in battle and beyond, is palpable. The camera pans across the courtroom, showing the judge, the bailiffs, and even the spectators all caught in the gravity of this request. But behind every tear and every shared glance, there is something deeper. The growing realization that this courtroom, this trial, is not just about a soldier and his dog. This is about loyalty, sacrifice, and the rawest form of love. Nathan grips Thor's leash tightly, his fingers trembling as he prepares to speak. The room is thick with emotion as Nathan makes his desperate request, his last wish, to say goodbye to Thor. The audience knows, from the very first word, that this moment will be the turning point of the soldier's life. Thor has been Nathan's constant through it all, a companion more loyal than any human could be. But now, the very thing that has kept Nathan grounded, his dog, his partner, his family, may be taken away forever. The bond between Nathan and Thor goes beyond words. It's the kind of relationship built on mutual respect, trust, and a shared history of sacrifice and survival. The weight of what he stands to lose is overwhelming. Too many, Thor might just be an animal trained for a purpose, to detect explosives, to protect, to serve. But to Nathan, Thor is everything. A lifeline, a protector, and a source of comfort in a world that's often too cruel to understand. Thor wasn't just Nathan's working dog. He was his partner in every sense of the word. Every person present feels the raw emotion that emanates from the pair. "He saved my life," he says. "He's not just a dog, he's my family. Please, don't take him away." The audience feels the ache in his voice, the desperate need for this loyal companion to stay by his side. As the room falls into a hushed silence, it's clear this story is about far more than a soldier and his dog. It's about love, loyalty, and sacrifice in its purest form. Even the judge's eyes soften as he watches the soldier struggle to maintain composure. In this moment, Nathan's plea is not just a request for mercy, it's a plea for understanding, for the acknowledgement of a bond that transcends the typical human-animal relationship. This bond isn't formed through command and obedience alone. It is forged through shared peril, through countless moments when only the trust between the two could ensure survival. Their relationship began not in a training facility, but on the battlefield, where life or death was decided in a split second, and where Nathan's survival often depended on Thor's keen instincts. The dog's ability to sense danger before anyone else had saved Nathan's life more times than he could count. As the trial continues, the camera zooms in on Nathan's face, his jaw tightening, eyes glistening with unshed tears. The courtroom is still, save for the soft panting of Thor by his side. The air is thick with emotion as Nathan speaks of his time with Thor. His voice cracks, but his words are steady. As Nathan's plea lingers in the air, the unthinkable happens. The audience holds their breath as Thor, who has been quietly sitting by Nathan's side, suddenly springs to life. His stance shifts from calm to alert. His ears stand at attention, his muscles tense as if he senses something the rest of the room cannot. The murmurs in the room begin to rise as people shift uncomfortably in their seats, unsure of what to make of this sudden change. Thor, heel, he commands, but Thor's growl only intensifies. The dog doesn't obey. This isn't a moment of defiance. This is Thor acting on pure instinct. A veteran canine handler like Nathan knows this behavior all too well. Thor has never reacted like this unless there is danger. The silence is broken only by Thor's insistent barking, a sound that cuts through the tension like a knife. Nathan, now fully aware of the gravity of the situation, leans forward and says, "Whatever is coming, it's not just a threat to me, it's a threat to everyone in this room." His words hit like a thunderclap, and the room falls into a stunned silence. All eyes on the dog and the man who is trying to keep him under control. A sense of urgency fills Nathan's chest as he realizes that whatever threat Thor is warning them about, it's very real. As the dog continues to bark with increasing ferocity, the room becomes a pressure cooker, filled with the dangerous unknown that Thor's instincts have uncovered. Thor's warnings on the battlefield were always a precursor to danger. The dog was never wrong. What's happening with the dog? One of the onlookers whispers, but no one knows the answer. The courtroom is no longer just a place of legal proceedings, has become the front line of something far more dangerous. Thor never acts like this unless there's a real threat. He senses danger something is wrong. His words send a ripple of unease through the courtroom. Even the judge, once poised and authoritative, seems to waver as he watches the dog's behavior. Thor's behavior is erratic and, more importantly, deeply unsettling. The dog's growl begins as a low rumble, a vibration that sends a shiver down the spines of everyone present. The room, which had been filled with the quiet tension of Nathan's words, now pulses with a new kind of fear of the unknown. Thor's body language changes instantly. He's not just alert, he's actively on the defensive. His sharp eyes scan the courtroom, focused not on the people, but on something unseen. His growl grows louder, deeper, echoing through the walls of the courtroom. The judge's gavel is forgotten in his hand, as he watches Thor's behavior unfold before him. Nathan, sensing the gravity of the situation, calls out to Thor, his voice trembling with urgency. Nathan's face shifts from concern to sheer panic. "He's not just barking," Nathan says, his voice growing more desperate. The atmosphere in the room shifts as the realization settles in. This moment is more than just a courtroom drama. It's a warning, As Thor continues to bark relentlessly, a few spectators, their faces pale, stand from their seats. Some move toward the back of the room, their eyes darting nervously toward the door. Nathan wheels himself forward, trying to maintain control over Thor, but the dog's instincts are too strong. The tension is palpable. The crowd can feel it, the same instinctual unease that is running through Nathan. He knows Thor. He knows this moment. The judge looks toward the bailiffs, motioning them to take action, but even they hesitate, unsure of what is happening. For the first time, Nathan's plea for his canine partner seems secondary. The real battle is just beginning. Thor's warning has changed everything. The tension in the courtroom thickens as Thor's behavior escalates. What was once a quiet and emotionally charged scene now shifts to a dangerous standoff. The dog's barks reverberate off the walls, sharp and urgent, as if he is trying to tell everyone something they refuse to acknowledge. "Control your dog, Sergeant," he orders, his tone stern. But Nathan's heart pounds in his chest as he watches Thor's unyielding behavior. Nathan can feel the hairs on the back of his neck stand up, his gut twisting with the undeniable sense that something is terribly wrong. "What are you waiting for?" he demands, the authority in his voice slipping as he looks at Thor, whose growls grow louder with each passing second. The courtroom is filled with unease. The air is thick, heavy with the uncertainty of what's to come. The room is silent except for the low hum of anxiety filling the space. As the bailiffs inch closer to the door, their weapons at the ready, the tension mounts. The tension is suffocating now, each breath harder to take. Nathan's mind is racing. He's been through countless close calls in the field, but this is different. Thor has never reacted like this before. The dog is acting as though the lives of everyone in this room are at stake, and Nathan doesn't know what comes next. But deep down, he knows one thing for certain. Something is coming. Something dark. Something dangerous. Thor, the silent sentinel, remains fixed on the doorway. He knows what's coming. Whatever Thor is sensing is now undeniable, and his relentless barking makes it clear that they are on the verge of something catastrophic. The longer they wait, the more panicked the audience becomes. The bailiffs begin to move toward the doors, but as they approach, something even more chilling happens. "We need to evacuate," he calls out, his voice stronger now as the tension builds. "Whatever Thor senses, we're not safe here." "He's not misbehaving, Your Honor," Nathan explains. He's trying to process what's happening, but his instincts are kicking in. Thor has never been wrong. And in this moment, Nathan knows the danger is real. His heart races, pounding in his chest as he tries to control his breathing. "Get everyone out of here," he shouts, his voice breaking with desperation. This place isn't safe. But despite the urgency of his words, no one moves. The judge, too stunned to speak, watches the unfolding scene in front of him, too late to act. Thor is trained to detect threats, explosives, and danger. This isn't just random barking. The sound is unmistakable. Something is moving beyond the courtroom, something that shouldn't be there. The bailiffs freeze, their bodies tense as they scan the hallway. Another step, and the clang comes again, sharper this time, sending a ripple of dread through the room. The audience gasps, their fear palpable. Some people clutch their bags. Others stand, looking around the room as if trying to make sense of what's happening, but no one can. The audience watches, paralyzed with fear, as the once silent room becomes a battleground for survival. Nathan, his hands gripping the armrests of his wheelchair, watches his partner closely. Every muscle in his body is on high alert as the dog continues to act in ways that are out of character for him. "Please," Nathan pleads, his voice filled with urgency. "Don't you see? He's trying to warn us." Thor doesn't bark like this unless there's a real threat. His words, shaky and frantic, fall on ears that don't yet understand the gravity of the situation. The room is divided. Some are starting to believe Nathan, while others are unsure how to interpret Thor's actions. And then, the tension snaps. Without warning, the doors at the far end of the courtroom creak. The sound cuts through the room like a knife, amplifying the sense of impending doom. The people in the courtroom freeze. Every single person turns their gaze toward the doors. For a moment, the room is completely still, the atmosphere charged with the electric buzz of anxiety. The bailiffs, standing by the judge's bench, exchange uncertain glances. The audience murmurs, unsure whether to remain seated or flee the room. Their faces are a mixture of confusion, fear, and disbelief. Some begin to rise from their seats, inching toward the exits, instinctively sensing the danger that Thor is so desperately trying to communicate. But still, the judge remains hesitant. His hand grips the gavel, his face etched with skepticism. The judge's face falters, but the doubt doesn't completely leave his eyes. Thor's behavior shifts again, moving from barking to a low, guttural growl, one that vibrates through the floor and into the walls. The judge looks up at the bailiffs, his expression clouded with indecision. A loud, metallic clang echoes from the hallway outside. Thor's growls deepen, and his entire body stiffens. The crowd begins to stir. Some move towards the exits, while others linger in place, frozen by fear. Nathan's chest tightens as his pulse races. The metallic clangs continue to grow louder, each one a step closer to the doors. The door creaks once more, the handle rattles, and in that moment, everyone knows that the quiet unease they've felt is about to be shattered. The courtroom holds its collective breath as the door to the hallway begins to creak open. The room seems to slow, as if time itself is stretching, each second an eternity. All eyes are locked on the dark corridor, the source of Thor's relentless warning. As the door widens, a chill runs through the air, the oppressive tension becoming almost tangible. The crowd's unease transforms into raw fear, a feeling so thick it presses against the chest like a heavy weight. His barks now turn to snarls, low and dangerous, as his gaze locks on the stranger with laser-like focus. The dog's muscles tense, his body primed for whatever threat this figure may pose. Nathan, though still in his wheelchair, grips the armrests tightly, his knuckles white with the force of his tension. Every eye is on the figure now, and every person is wondering the same thing. What does he mean? A collective gasp rises from the audience as they all watch in horror, unsure of what he might pull out. Nathan's mind races, trying to prepare for what comes next. But nothing could have prepared him for the object the man reveals. There's something deeply symbolic about the key, something that carries with it the weight of impending danger. Thor, sensing the danger in the air, continues to growl low in his throat, his body still coiled in a stance that screams readiness for battle. The crowd watches in frozen horror as the figure slowly retreats, his words hanging in the air like a dark omen. The figure's smirk widens as he looks from Nathan to the dog, his words slow and menacing. You know what this means, don't you? You and the dog. You're not going anywhere. The courtroom, once filled with tension and silence, is now filled with a fear that cannot be shaken off. No one knows who the figure was or what the key signifies, but one thing is certain: the story is far from over. Why is he here? And why is he so fixated on Thor? Nathan's jaw tightens, and he can feel the sweat forming at the back of his neck. And with that, he turns and walks back into the shadows of the hallway, disappearing as quickly as he arrived. This is no longer just about him and Thor, it's about something far bigger, something much darker that's starting to unfold before their eyes. He knows that Thor would never behave like this without reason. He knows that Thor is acting out of instinct, out of a desperate need to protect him, to protect everyone in the room. The once stoic faces of the spectators are now marked by a mix of confusion, panic, and disbelief. "Relax," he says, raising his hands in mock surrender. There's something sinister about him, something that even the dog can sense. Thor, unable to contain his aggression any longer, lunges forward, barking furiously, as though trying to tear the very fabric of the threat standing in front of them. The tension in the room snaps as the figure's words slice through the fear-stricken silence. "I'm not here to hurt anyone," he says, his voice dripping with a calm that only serves to heighten the suspicions swirling around him. "But the dog, he's the one I'm after." His words are chilling in their calmness, like someone trying to soothe a volatile situation, except that nothing about this situation feels soothing. His hands are empty, but his tone carries an unsettling confidence that makes the room feel even more dangerous. In this moment, the entire room becomes acutely aware that they are no longer in a place of law and order. They're in the eye of a storm, and the calm before it is deceptive. The tension is not just in the air. It's in the faces of the people around them. They can feel it in their bones. Something is coming. Something none of them can control or predict. Then, it happens. The door opens wide enough to reveal the long, shadowed hallway beyond. But it's not just the hallway that captures the attention of every person in the room. A figure, dark and foreboding, steps into the threshold. At first, the figure is just a silhouette, its features obscured by shadows. But as the figure moves, it becomes clear. This is no ordinary person. This is someone who has been waiting for this moment. This is someone who walked into the courtroom with intent that goes far beyond the simple fate of a soldier and his dog. "Who are you?" the judge demands, his voice wavering for the first time, no longer commanding the space with certainty. His hand grips the gavel tightly, but there's no hammering down of order now. His eyes scan the figure, searching for any sign of who they are, what they want, and why they're here. But the figure remains silent, moving forward slowly, deliberately. Each step they take sends a ripple through the room, amplifying the fear and suspense that has been building ever since Thor first alerted them. Thor, the ever-vigilant German shepherd, reacts with a newfound intensity. And then, the figure speaks, his voice soft, but carrying a deadly undertone. Nathan's heart skips a beat. His instincts are on high alert. This man is no innocent party. The room falls into absolute stillness, but the air is thick with tension. For the first time, the figure drops his hands and reaches into his coat pocket, slowly, deliberately. It's a key. A simple, unremarkable key. But the way the figure holds it, the way he presents it to the room, suggests that it's anything but simple. As he speaks, the room grows colder, the weight of his words pressing down on everyone present. "There's more at play here than you realize," he says. His voice carrying a finality that seems to echo throughout the courtroom. But the threat lingers. The sense of danger has not passed. The room remains in a frozen silence after the figure vanishes into the darkened hallway, but the atmosphere is now heavy with dread. The audience, who had once been quiet with confusion, is now beginning to stir. His own body is taut with tension, but now there is a flicker of doubt creeping into his thoughts. What just happened? Who was that man, and what did he mean by his cryptic words? His mind races, trying to make sense of the chaos that has erupted in the courtroom, but the truth remains elusive. One thing is clear: the world he thought he understood has just shifted, and everything is now uncertain. He's not about to sit back and let whatever is happening unfold without his intervention. The judge's face is drawn, his earlier authority now replaced by a look of unease. Nathan knows that the man is just as lost as everyone else, but he also knows that the time for confusion is over. He has to act now. People are talking in hushed tones, exchanging theories, and casting fearful glances toward the doors. The bond between Nathan and Thor has not gone unnoticed, and the judge seems to understand that they are both involved in something much bigger than they could have anticipated. The figure may be gone, but its presence lingers, casting a long shadow over everything. "You have to understand, Judge," he begins, his words coming out in a rush. "Thor is not just a dog." He takes a deep breath, rubbing his temples as if trying to gather his thoughts. "I don't know what to make of all this, Sergeant," he says quietly, his voice betraying a hint of uncertainty. "But you're right. We can't let this go unchallenged." But Nathan can shake the feeling that this is only the beginning of something far more dangerous. Something that will change everything. It was a harbinger of what was to come. And Nathan knew that he had to face whatever it was, no matter the cost. Aha. I'll have my staff look into it, but for now, let's take a step back. He's a protector. He's not wrong about this. Something is happening, something much bigger than we realize. We need to figure out what this man wants, why he's here, and what that key means. He looks down at Thor, who is now sitting quietly at his side. But there is an unmistakable wariness in the dog's eyes. Their usual calm demeanor has been shattered by the appearance of the mysterious figure, and their movements are tense as they whisper among themselves. He looks down at Thor, whose body language is still alert and knows that they won't be able to avoid the inevitable. He won't back down, not when the stakes are so high. Whatever the figure wanted, whatever the key represented, he would find out. He had to, for Thor, for himself, and for the truth. The tension rises as the stakes get higher, and the mystery surrounding the key and the figure from the hallway continues to unfold. Whatever is coming, they're in this together. It's clear that they are trying to regroup, trying to figure out how to handle the situation. But there is no time for hesitation. Something is coming, something that none of them are prepared for. They share a bond that's deeper than words, a connection forged through years of shared experiences. The words catch the attention of the bailiff nearest him, who glances at him with a mixture of surprise and concern. The bailiff seems to hesitate for a moment, then nods and steps aside to allow Nathan to approach the judge. And in that moment, Nathan knows that Thor is just as uncertain about the future as he is. Whispers ripple through the crowd, their voices barely audible over the pounding of Nathan's heart. The noise snaps the room out of its collective stupor, but it does little to settle the growing unease. The words hang in the air, barely able to penetrate the tension that has wrapped itself around the room. His tone does little to soothe the growing panic in the crowd. Everyone is on edge. No one is sure if they should stay or leave, if they should remain seated or run for the exits. The moment the words leave his mouth, the courtroom begins to buzz with frantic energy. The once dignified figure of the judge now seems smaller, his authority chipped away by the overwhelming sense of impending danger. He knows that he can't allow the figure's appearance to go unchallenged. He has no idea what's at stake, but one thing is certain: Thor's behavior was no accident. The dog, always so composed, had sensed something that everyone else had missed, and that something is now making its presence known in the most unsettling way. His eyes flick from the hallway to the people around him, his face set in a mask of determination. Though it's clear that he's struggling to maintain control, the air feels thick, suffocating, as if the room itself is holding its breath in anticipation of something far worse. Nathan's grip on Thor's leash tightens, the dog's instinctive growls still vibrating through the air. The judge, who had been stunned into silence, slams his gavel down, a sharp, commanding sound that reverberates throughout the room. This court is adjourned for a short recess, the judge announces, his voice shaky yet firm. Nathan's mind is still reeling, but he forces himself to focus on the situation at hand. As people begin to rise from their seats, some moving toward the exits in a panic, Nathan wheels himself forward, determined to make sense of the madness. His eyes scan the room, locking onto the judge, who is speaking hurriedly with the court bailiffs. The bailiffs, too, seem on edge. "I need to speak to the judge," Nathan says, his voice low but firm. As Nathan wheels himself closer to the judge, the room is still in turmoil. The judge looks up, his face showing signs of exhaustion.
Oh.
But when his gaze lands on Nathan, there is a flicker of recognition. "Sergeant Carter," the judge says, his voice low. "What is it?" Nathan looks at him, his mind swirling with questions and fear. The judge's brow furrows, his expression unreadable. Nathan nods, though he knows that stepping back isn't an option. This isn't just a courtroom battle anymore. This is a fight for their lives. The room continues to buzz with nervous energy, but Nathan has made his decision. As the tension in the room reaches a boiling point, the bailiffs begin to clear the room, signaling the end of the recess. The key that the mysterious figure had shown them, the one that still rests heavy in his mind, wasn't just a symbol. This section captures the moment the courtroom erupts into chaos and shifts the focus toward the growing sense of danger that Nathan and Thor must now face. The scene shifts from the courtroom to the moments following the recess. The atmosphere outside is no less tense, with every officer in the building on high alert. The dog, typically calm and collected, is now visibly on edge. The figure who had shown it to them, the man who had arrived in the courtroom with an air of intimidation, was no ordinary adversary. There was a sense of calculated purpose in his every action, a deliberate intent behind every movement. And the way Thor reacted, so instinctively, so fiercely, only confirmed what Nathan had already suspected. They were in the midst of something far bigger than any of them could have imagined. They, too, are processing what has happened. The courtroom may have erupted, but the investigation is just beginning. She's a seasoned investigator, someone who's seen the worst of what humanity has to offer. But today, there's something different in her demeanor. She's on edge, her usual calm replaced with a visible urgency. There's too much they don't know yet, too much that's been left unsaid. What have you found? The prosecutor is already on the phone, making calls, attempting to track down leads, but there's an unease that hangs over them all. They're being pulled into something far deeper than a simple courtroom case. His ears are perked, eyes darting back and forth, sensing something the human eye cannot see. Nathan, too, feels the weight of the unknown pressing on his chest. We need to make sure this doesn't get swept under the rug. The people behind this won't stop until they've silenced everyone involved. We need to move quickly. The revelation that the conspiracy goes deeper than he ever could have imagined is unsettling. He's no longer just fighting to keep Thor by his side. He's now fighting to expose a network of corruption, to bring down a system that's built on deceit, manipulation, and betrayal. The truth is out there, and we can't let it disappear. But Nathan knows that they can't do it alone. They'll need help. They'll need to stay one step ahead of the people who are willing to go to any lengths to protect their secrets. The investigation takes center stage as Nathan and Laura begin to connect the dots, and the tension heightens as they realize the danger they're now in. The section ends with a commitment to uncover the truth, setting the stage for the next phase of the investigation. The stakes have never been higher, and the road ahead is uncertain. But he knows one thing for sure: This investigation is no longer just about his bond with Thor. Together, they will uncover the truth, no matter the cost. This is about exposing a web of deception, corruption, and betrayal that has taken root far deeper than anyone can fathom. This isn't just about a soldier and his dog. This is about a network that goes far beyond the courtroom. The figure who had appeared was part of a vast operation, an operation that had deep ties to military assets and corruption. And Thor's behavior, the way he had reacted so fiercely, was a sign that the dog had recognized the threat long before anyone else. I've been reviewing the records from the courtroom, and I found something that doesn't make sense. She slides a file toward him, and Nathan's eyes scan the papers quickly. The man who was in the courtroom, the one who showed us the key, is not just some random figure. I've traced his background, and there's a pattern. The air feels thick, as if the walls are closing in on them. Nathan, despite the emotional weight of what's transpired, knows that this is no ordinary legal case. He's been tied to several high-profile cases. But here's the kicker. He's got military connections. Connections to people who've been linked to black market operations involving military equipment and possibly military dogs. He's not just a threat. He's a key player in something much bigger. And Thor was right to react the way he did. This is bigger than a simple dispute over Thor. This is the beginning of something far darker. Something he's not prepared to face alone. Thor stands beside him, as if fully aware that this moment is pivotal. As Nathan wheels himself down the corridor toward the holding room, he reflects on the key. "Stay close, buddy," Nathan murmurs to Thor, his voice tinged with an edge of concern. The dog responds with a quick glance, as if understanding the gravity of the moment. Their silent communication is a testament to the unspoken bond between them, a bond that goes beyond words, beyond actions. It is a connection forged in the heat of battle, one that cannot be broken by anything, not even the shadow of conspiracy that looms over them now. Inside the holding room, the tension is palpable. The bailiffs and officers who have been present throughout the trial are gathered in hushed conversation. Their voices low but urgent. They, too, sense that something has shifted. There's a sense of foreboding in the air, a feeling that something big is about to break wide open. As Nathan takes a seat at the center of the room, he notices the quiet anxiety in the officer's eyes. "Sergeant Carter," a voice calls from across the room, and Nathan turns to see one of the senior officers, Detective Laura Simmons, approaching him. "We need to talk," she says, her voice low. Something doesn't add up. Nathan's pulse quickens. He knows she's right. Laura takes a deep breath, then moves closer. Nathan's brow furrows. "Who is he?" "His name's Michael Carrington," Laura continues. Nathan's mind begins to race. "We need to get this information to the judge," Nathan says, his voice filled with urgency. Laura nods, her expression hardening. "I agree. But we're not the only ones after the truth." The weight of their situation presses down on Nathan like a physical force. As the officers continue to sift through the clues, it's clear that they are piecing together something monumental. But with Thor by his side, Nathan knows that they're ready for whatever comes next. This section deepens the mystery surrounding the figure in the courtroom and begins to unravel the conspiracy at the heart of the story. As Nathan and Laura continue their conversation, the room seems to close in around them, a suffocating weight hanging over their shoulders. The walls, once familiar, now feel foreign, as if they are surrounded by invisible eyes. Nathan's mind races, each piece of information adding another layer of complexity to the mystery. Tell me more about him. You said he's linked to military equipment and dogs. Yes, Carrington has ties to several shady deals involving military surplus. And we've tracked some of these transactions to underground networks that specialize in black market military goods. He's always known that the military operated in ways that the public rarely understood. But he never imagined that something like this could be happening under his nose. If they're selling military dogs, what else are they doing? These people, Carrington included, are orchestrating a network of corruption that spans across multiple levels of government. The realization that Thor, his partner, could have been one of those dogs part of a larger conspiracy to profit from the lives of animals. He thought we're there to serve and protect cuts deep. He's always known that loyalty, honor, and justice were the values that guided him. But now he's questioning everything he's ever believed. If they had been wrong about Thorif, they had misunderstood the value of their service. Both human and animal, what else were they wrong about? How deep does this betrayal run? The deeper we dig, the more we find. But this isn't just about finding evidence anymore. But Nathan knows better. Thor knows exactly what's happening. This is more than just a mission. It's a call to action, a plea for justice. Together, they've fought battles before. And now, with the truth before them, they must fight the biggest battle of all, one that will determine not only the future of their partnership, but the future of every animal that has ever served alongside a soldier. It's about taking down an entire network that's been operating in the shadows for far too long. We'll expose this, no matter what it takes. But we need to move fast. It sets the stage for the investigation to expand further. With the characters now fully committed to exposing the truth, no matter the personal cost. The stakes are higher than ever, and the section concludes with a sense of urgency as they prepare for the next phase of the investigation. We're not the only ones who know what's going on now. But Nathan knows one thing for sure. There's no turning back now. The revelation has set things in motion. And the fight for justice, both for Thor and for the soldiers and animals who have been betrayed, is only just beginning. There are others, people who want this to stop. But we're going to need help, outside help. His jaw clenches, but it's not just anger he feels, it's a deep sense of loss. What started as a case about a soldier and his dog is now an investigation into a network of corruption that could shake the foundations of the military and law enforcement systems to their core. And at the center of it all is a man who Nathan has trusted, who fought alongside him in the most harrowing of circumstances. We've already contacted a journalist who's been investigating these types of cases. But we'll need to gather more evidence. This is going to take time, and we can't afford to let anyone know what we're doing. we'll need to move in the shadows like they have. He's been betrayed not only by the system, but by the very people he trusted to protect and serve alongside him. We can't just walk away from this. There's too much at stake now. They must act quickly. Stay ahead of the people who would stop at nothing to keep their secrets hidden. Nathan and Laura are no longer just uncovering a conspiracy, they're fighting to expose the truth, no matter the cost. From what we've gathered, this network is using service dogs as assets to launder money. The dogs are trained, given high-level military certifications, and then sold to wealthy buyers under the guise of being retired veterans.
Oh.
It's a huge profit scheme, one that involves not only the military but several law enforcement agencies as well. What's their endgame? The idea of service dogs companions who risk their lives alongside soldiers being exploited in such a manner fills him with a sickening sense of betrayal. But what's even more troubling is the fact that he's connected to a series of high-level officers, some of whom are still active in the military. They've been trading in military dogs, and not just any dogs, service dogs, like Thor. There's evidence suggesting that these animals are being sold off to the highest bidder. The more they uncover, the deeper the conspiracy seems to go. The more names they pull from the tangled web, the more they realize that they are up against something far larger than anyone had anticipated. The air is thick with the scent of apprehension, and every sound seems amplified in the tense silence. Thor, sitting calmly at Nathan's feet, seems to understand the gravity of the situation. His instincts, once honed on the battlefield, now act as a silent sentinel, alert to every shift in the atmosphere. The folder in front of them holds secrets, but it also holds the key to everything. Laura, you mentioned Michael Carrington, Nathan says, his voice a quiet murmur as he glances back at the file. Laura nods, pulling out a second sheet of paper. Nathan's heart sinks as the weight of Laura's words hits him. "This is bigger than I thought," Nathan murmurs. Laura's face hardens as she flips through the pages, revealing a map with names and locations marked on it. Nathan feels a chill run down his spine. As Laura continues to speak, Nathan's mind begins to race. The pieces of the puzzle start to fit together, but with each new revelation, the picture becomes more unsettling. "Laura, what do we do next?" Nathan asks, his voice steady despite the turmoil swirling inside him. Laura looks at him, her expression firm, unwavering. "We have to expose them." Nathan looks at Thor, who sits quietly beside him, seemingly unfazed by the magnitude of the conversation taking place. "We'll do whatever it takes," Nathan says, his voice filled with resolve. The urgency in his voice is clear, and Laura doesn't hesitate. The room is silent for a moment, the weight of their task settling around them like a dark cloud. As the scene shifts, the tension builds, and the need to act becomes more urgent. This section dives deeper into the conspiracy, revealing the true nature of the corruption that's been festering in the military and law enforcement. With the revelation of the conspiracy now clear, Nathan feels the weight of the world pressing down on him. The stakes are no longer just about Thor and his past military service. The task ahead is monumental, but there's no choice now but to press forward. The clock is ticking, and with each passing moment, the danger grows. Carrington, Harding, and the others involved are not going to sit idly by as their empire unravels. Nathan feels a burning sense of justice rising inside him, one that goes beyond his duty as a soldier and beyond his bond with Thor. This is personal now. This is about stopping a network of people who have abused their power, and it's going to take every ounce of their determination to see it through. This is bigger than we thought, and we can't do it alone. They evolved into something much larger, something that has the potential to tear apart the very fabric of the military and law enforcement. They'll be waiting for us, but we need to move fast. His eyes lock with Nathan's, filled with quiet determination. The bond between them is undeniable. This is their fight, their battle. We've already come too far to back out now. This has to end. For Thor, for all the soldiers and canine South that have been betrayed. As Nathan and Laura prepare for the raid, the tension in the air is palpable. Every movement feels calculated. Every word carries weight. They're all seasoned investigators, people who've been on the front lines of exposing corruption for years. He's been moving around a lot lately, but we've got a window. We'll breach the perimeter, secure the building, and get to Carrington's vault. We know it's there he's been using it to store the real evidence. Once we have that, everything falls apart for him. We can't afford to wait any longer. He's holed up at that safe house. We go in now. We catch him red-handed. The dog's steady presence is a comfort, a reminder of why they're doing this. "Let's move," Nathan says, the words coming out sharper than he expected. His pulse is already racing in anticipation. This is the final stretch. The time for talk is over. They understand the stakes, and they understand the danger. The vault is just ahead, and Nathan knows that this is the moment they've been waiting for. Nathan's heart races as he looks at Laura and Jack. There's no time to waste. The final showdown is about to begin. The vault is within reach, but the threat of Carrington's network is still looming. The fight for justice reaches its apex, and everything will change once the truth is revealed. Will Nathan and his team be able to bring Carrington down, or will they be stopped before they can finish what they started? The conclusion of this thrilling investigation hangs in the balance. Will they succeed in exposing the truth? Or will the conspiracy continue to wreak havoc on everything Nathan and Thor have fought for? If they can get their hands on the evidence in that vault, it's over for Carrington. The conspiracy will crumble, and justice will finally be served. Each one of them carries the weight of knowing that they are about to embark on one of the most dangerous missions of their lives. Every step feels like it could be their last, but Nathan knows they have no other choice. But Nathan and his team are prepared. They've studied the building's layout, know the entry points, and have already accounted for every possible contingency. Their every move is calculated, precise. There's no room for error. This is the moment where everything changes. They can't afford to fail. Nathan can feel the dog's presence beside him, his partner in every sense of the word. Together, they've faced countless challenges, and tonight would be no different. They move in perfect sync, side by side, with one goal in mind: bringing the truth to light and ensuring that justice is served. But there's no turning back now. They move through the building like shadows, careful not to make a sound. Every creak of the floorboards feels deafening, but they press forward. They've come too far to back down now. They can't afford to make mistakes. If they're going to take down the entire network, they'll have to be swift, precise, and, above all, they'll have to be ready for anything. For everyone who's been caught in this web of lies, once we go in, there's no turning back. He looks at Laura, her expression resolute, and knows that this isn't just about finding the truth anymore. This is about stopping a system that has been corrupt for far too long. As Nathan gathers himself, his mind races through the actions that need to be taken. The journalist is our first step, Laura says, breaking the silence between them. We get the story out there, but we need something concrete to back it up. But there's a lingering sense of dread in the air. They've spent weeks tracking Carrington and his network, gathering evidence piece by piece. But now, it's all coming down to this. What do you mean? It's a big piece of evidence that no one can ignore. And I know just where to find it. Nathan turns to her, his brow furrowing. She pulls out another sheet of paper, this time a detailed map. It marks key locations connected to the conspiracy hidden warehouses, a private military contract facility, and even personal addresses tied to the key players in the operation. There's a common thread running through it all: Carrington. He's the glue holding everything together, pulling strings from behind the scenes, all while hiding in plain sight. Laura's finger taps a spot on the map. This is where we'll find it: Carrington's safe house. He has a vault filled with documents that link him to every corrupt officer, every shady deal. It's time to take it all down. Nathan feels a surge of adrenaline. He knows that this isn't just about proving Thor's worth or clearing his name. We'll need backup, Nathan says firmly. Laura agrees. I've already contacted a few people who have been investigating Carrington's activities. Nathan nods, his resolve hardening. Thor, sensing the urgency in Nathan's voice, stands and moves closer to his side. The plan takes shape. The plan is set, but nothing is ever as simple as it seems. Laura leads Nathan to a hidden underground facility where a small group of trusted allies await. We've got eyes on Carrington, one of the investigators. A tall, weathered man named Jack says as he scans the screen of his laptop. Nathan's heart races. This is it, the moment they've all been preparing for. What's the plan? Nathan asks, his voice steady but filled with urgency. We hit them hard and fast, Jack replies, his expression grim. No hesitation. Nathan's hand tightens around Thor's leash. The raid begins. As they approach Carrington's safe house, the tension is almost unbearable. The safe house is eerily quiet, almost too quiet. It's as if Carrington is waiting for them, anticipating their every move. Thor, silent and alert, moves with them, his keen instincts ready for whatever comes next. The breach is swift and decisive. Within minutes, the team has entered the safe house and secured the perimeter. Downstairs, Jack whispers urgently. Carrington's vault is in the basement. Nathan nods, and together, they descend into the darkness. But the silence is shattered by a sudden noise, footsteps approaching quickly. The final confrontation. The climax of their mission is fast approaching, and with it comes the realization that their fight is far from over. As the scene escalates, the stakes become higher and the tension is unbearable. With the raid underway, Nathan and his team are immersed in the heart of the storm. The tension in the air is almost palpable, each breath heavy with the weight of their mission. There is no turning back now. The walls of the safe house feel like they're closing in, and yet Nathan presses forward, his instincts sharp, his mind focused. Carrington's vault lies just ahead, but so does the ever-present threat of the people who protect him. As Nathan and the team descend deeper into the safe house's bowels, the sound of footsteps echoing in the empty hallways only heightens the urgency. Every room, every hallway feels like it's been designed to conceal the truth. Nathan can sense that they're on the brink of uncovering something far larger than they anticipated. The team freezes, their eyes wide with disbelief. Someone's been waiting for them, Carrington's men. The team rushes forward, weapons drawn, moving like a well-oiled machine. The pressure is mounting. Carrington's men are closing in, and there's no room for mistakes. He knows that the evidence inside is the key to bringing Carrington's empire crashing down. Every inch of progress now feels monumental. This is the moment they've all been preparing for, and failure is not an option. The vault is within reach, but so are the final, deadly consequences of their actions. The Team's movements grow more frantic as they clear the basement level and make their way toward the vault. But the door is heavy, imposing, and locked tight. There's no way around it, not without unlocking the secrets hidden within. Carrington's empire isn't just about military corruption, it's a sprawling web of power, greed, and deceit that reaches deeper than anyone in the team realized. His face is bathed in sweat, his hands trembling as he manipulates the complex mechanism. "I knew you'd come for it eventually," Carrington's voice sneers, dripping with disdain. "But you'll never leave with it?" Carrington, the man responsible for so much destruction, is here, and he's not about to go down without a fight. Chaos erupts as bullets ricochet off the walls, filling the room with an all-encompassing fear. Thor's growls grow louder, his protective instincts kicking in as he barks fiercely at the unseen enemy. It's the battle for what's right. Nathan, Laura, and the rest of the team are no longer just fighting for justice, they re-fighting for everything that has been taken from them. He's fighting for the legacy of all the soldiers who have come before him, for the dogs who fought alongside them, and for the promise of a future where justice prevails. The evidence is in their hands, and Carrington's reign of corruption is over. But Nathan knows that the consequences of their actions will reverberate for years to come. The fight for justice is never truly over. For every soldier and canine partner that's been betrayed, and for the families who've suffered because of men like Carrington. But only one of them will walk away from this battle. And for Nathan, there's no question. This fight will end with him victorious. The dog's loyalty is unwavering, as always. Nathan reaches down and pats Thor on the head, his heart filled with gratitude. The fight for justice is ongoing, and as long as he and Thor are together, they will continue to fight for what's right. Because some bonds are unbreakably, and together, they'll face whatever comes next. Together, they've faced the darkness, and together, they've brought it to light. Nathan stands amidst the chaos, his breath coming in heavy gasps. The long hours, the danger, the sacrifice, all of it has led to this final moment. The truth is out, and Carrington has been exposed. But Nathan knows that the work isn't over. There's still more to uncover, more to fight for. The vault is open, and the documents proof of Carrington's crimes are in his hands. But the weight of what they've done feels heavier than any victory. The battle is won, but the war is far from over. But Jack doesn't falter. He's done this 1,000 times before. And yet, there's a weight to this moment that feels heavier than anything he's ever faced. He's faced danger before, but this is different. This is the man who orchestrated the destruction of everything Nathan held dear. Carrington has been pulling the strings, manipulating everyone, and now, in this moment, he's finally facing the consequences of his actions. Oh dear. And then, with a soft, mechanical click, the vault door swings open, revealing the evidence they've been hunting for. Nathan feels a sense of triumph wash over him. This is it, the moment they've been fighting for. But, even in that moment of victory, he knows the danger isn't over yet. This ends now. Carrington, you're done. They're getting closer. Too close. He's the first to move in, placing his hand on the cold, rusted handle. The door creaks as it opens slowly, and the darkness that lies beyond seems to swallow them whole. The vault is inside. They can feel it. The last shred of evidence that will take down Carrington for good. It's within their grasp. He can hear Thor growling in the distance, alerting him to the presence of more intruders. Carrington's men are moving in, relentless in their pursuit. Together, they've fought battles before, and now, once again, they are united in their mission. The safe house is dimly lit, the air thick with dust, and the faint scent of oil and metal. As they approach the basement door, Jack signals for them to stop. But just as they step into the basement, an unexpected noise rings out, a gunshot, followed by shouting, "Cover me!" Nathan growls, instinctively reaching for his weapon. His grip tightens on Thor's leash, his heart pounding as he looks to his loyal canine partner. "We're almost there, buddy." Thor's eyes flash with understanding, and Nathan can feel the familiar, comforting presence of the dog at his side. "Everyone, move." "Ka," Laura shouts, breaking the silence. The vault opens. As the team fights off the men guarding the basement, Nathan's mind races with a single thought: the vault. With every shot fired, Nathan grows more certain that they are running out of time. Gak kneels before the vault, his fingers working quickly to decipher the security system. Seconds stretch into minutes, and Nathan feels the pressure building. "We need that vault open now." Nathan growls, his patience wearing thin. "Do it, Jack." Jack doesn't respond, but his fingers fly over the panel with unerring precision. Inside the vault are files, documents, photographs. and a host of encrypted digital media, everything they need to expose Carrington's crimes and those involved in the web of corruption, yet betrayal and final confrontation. Before they can collect the evidence, a chilling voice rings out from the shadows. Nathan's body tenses at the sound. He knows this moment has arrived, the final showdown. Suddenly, a burst of gunfire echoes through the basement, and the team dives for cover. Nathan's eyes narrow, his grip on his weapon firm. But it's not just the fight for the evidence. As Nathan moves forward, his voice cuts through the chaos. The final confrontation has arrived, and with it comes the final test of Nathan's will. He's not just fighting for the truth. In that moment, Nathan and Carrington lock eyes to men with two very different visions of the world. As the dust settles, the team has succeeded. The aftermath. The safe house is now silent, the air thick with the scent of victory and loss. As Nathan walks through the wreckage, Thor at his side, he reflects on everything that's led him to this point. Thor looks up at him, sensing his partner's exhaustion. But as they leave the safe house behind, Nathan knows that there's still work to be done.